triggering change, one heartbeat at a time. Battle for freedom. Hello everyone, this is Watson Prunier from Battle for Freedom on Mojo 50 Radio, and I'm glad that you're joining me today as we get this we just get this week off started on the right way. Listen, if you want to do me a favor, go to my website, which is battle4freedom.com, battle4freedom.com, and from there we will make certain that you know exactly where to go to. But I have to start this day off the correct way, and we're going to get into some American Pride Roasters coffee because I know you love it. And here we go. That's it. I've hit the snooze button a dozen times, and now I have to finally get going. But I'm not going to do this day right if I don't start it off with a cup of American Pride Roasters coffee, the official coffee of Mojo 50 Radio. But I'm not going to lie to you. They have a wide variety of blends, but I'm leaning towards the one that's named after me, Watson's White Chocolate Caramel. You know what? It sounds as good as those words that just rolled off of my mouth. Listen. Get it today, AmericanPrideRoasters.com. Tell them that Watson from Battle for Freedom sent you, and you want Watson's White Chocolate Caramel Blend to start your day off. Join American Pride Roasters Coffee and Mojo 50 Radio, and most important, Battle for Freedom, as we celebrate the best coffee in the nation, American Pride Roasters. Yes, so American Pride Roasters Coffee. Howdy, everybody. This is Watson from Battle for Freedom. And I am, hey, listen, if Mike Phillip can pull off one of these hats in his promotional picture, I can pull off one of these during my program. 24 years it took me to get one of these hats, and I'm glad I finally got one. So I'm here in the Midwest, and I guess the best thing I could do is give you a Midwest look as I try and bring you the truth, bring you the information, and we go from there. So folks, listen, this is going to be a fun time, and we're going to have some great information I want to go into. So one of the things I want to start off the program with is I saw this video earlier, and it kind of led me down the direction of where I wanted to go. The disinformation highway, the progressive ploys to win. Disinformation. It's the idea of basically dropping in so much data that makes absolutely no sense and getting people completely twisted. Now, right now, there's a lot of people who are interacting with Mojo 50 Radio. They went to facebook.com/Mojo 50 Radio, and they're interacting because the data of this hat that they're watching right now is, they're just trying to figure it out. And there's thank you everyone for the great comments and the encouragement out here. I see Lep, I see Jen, I see Renee, and also Brian and Belinda, so much more. Thank you so much for being part of the program as we sit here and have this discussion. Folks, listen, this is, I saw this video and I've got to play this one for you because this was very, very, sometimes when you like when those gold nuggets just drop in your lap. One of my friends shared this, and I figured I just need to share it with you as well, too. Take a listen.
Good morning, Judge. Welcome to the blinding lights. Finding out what you mean when you say that you would apply the natural law philosophy to the Constitution is, in my view, the single most important task of this committee.
Senator Biden was very focused on natural law. How did that go?
Who knows? I have no idea what he was talking about.
I just want to make sure we all know what we're talking about here, that you and I know at least what we're talking about here. There's a fervent and aggressive school of thought that wishes to see natural law further inform the Constitution than it does now, argued against by the positivists led by Judge Bork. Now, again, that may be lost on all the people. You know and I know what we're talking about.
I have to be perfectly honest with you. You sit there and you have no idea what they are talking about. All I know is that he was asking me these questions about natural law.
Someone may apply it in a way, like Moore, who leads him in a direction that is, quote, liberal. You may apply it in a way that leads you in a direction that's conservative. Or you may, like many argue, not apply it at all. but it is a fundamental question that is going to be almost impossible for non-lawyers to grasp in an exchange. But you know and I know it is a big, big deal. And in conclusion,
One of the things you do in hearings is you have to sit there and look attentively at people you know have no idea what they're talking about. And it was fine. I understood what he was trying to do. I didn't really appreciate it. Natural law was nothing more than a way of tricking me into talking about abortion,
well, you know,
since many Catholic moral philosophers saw the two things as intimately related. But my interest in natural law was different.
Whether a president can unilaterally deny, you're not going to answer yes or no.
Well, Senator, you've asked a couple different questions about what the president might be able to unilaterally do, and I think that I really can't say anything more than I'm not going to answer hypotheticals.
It strains originalism. If the clear wording of the Constitution establishes a right and you will not acknowledge it.
Well, Senator, it would strain the canons of conduct, which don't permit me to offer off-the-cuff reactions or any opinions outside of the judicial decision-making process. It would strain Article 3, which prevents me from deciding legal issues outside the context of cases and controversies. And as Justice Ginsburg said, it would display disregard for the whole judicial process.
So then let's take it to the case we've discussed before.
So what I love about that is if you notice what was going on with them, they did the best, you know, whether it was Durbin or whether it was Biden, they were trying to stoke them into a conversation. We watched it all last week. I'm glad that the hearings are over, and I can't wait till this Thursday is upon us that we can turn around and finally have a decision, confirm her, and we move forward. Whether the president confirms her or not, or whether the president basically appointed her or not, or nominated her or not, it didn't matter, because there are just people who don't want to see. I just read an article today off of Business Insider, where a person actually acknowledged the horrible track records of both Biden and Harris, but they said, I'm still going to vote for Trump. I'm still going to vote for Biden regardless of that, because Trump is convincing me that I have to get him out of office. He's only been in 4 years, whereas Biden's been in for 47 years. Harris has been in how many years? But all the information, all the factual data that we have for both of these candidates, and they still want to vote for them, regardless of their horrendous history. And they're basically, and there's one person, he said, even to the idea that, we'll take them to task and hold them to task for their history. How do you hold them for task when you don't have a media and a media avenue that will hold them to task for what they're doing? Really? How can you hold them to a task if you don't have any system set up in place to hold them accountable? They can do and say and act whatever way that they want to. And even now, with the latest information of Joe Biden and his son, Hunter Biden, and this laptop, and there's still the media silence. I literally went to CNN yesterday, and also MSNBC, and neither of them had one post about Joe Biden's laptop. Hunter Biden's laptop. So how in the world do we sit there and hold them accountable if they don't want to have a system to hold them accountable? But you're still going to vote for them. I documented corruption, and they're saying that the civil liberties of American citizens are a threat because of Donald Trump. I'm sitting here thinking Biden created one of the worst legislations against the civil liberties of minorities. Kamala Harris enforced said legislation and killed people. When you let someone die on death row and you have the information that will exonerate them and you refuse to give that information, oh yeah, you're killing people. Look at that, I'm already getting angry. You know what I need to do is I'm going to let y'all look at my hat for a minute here while we listen to the Peter Seraphin moment here. And you know what? Here you go. And honey, you might want to mute this. I don't know if there's any profanity on this, but take a listen.
I'm Peter Seraphin, and this is the Liberty Minute for day 218 of 15 days to flatten the curve. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania has rejected 372,000 requests for mail-in ballots, 90% because they were duplicate requests. 353 counties in 29 states have 1.8 million more registered voters than eligible voting age citizens, according to Judicial Watch. The moderator for the final presidential debate is a known Democrat activist who was caught on camera tipping off the Clinton campaign to at least one of the debate questions in 2016, but the Commission on Presidential Debates is nonpartisan. The admitted trained Marxist and co-founder of BLM, Patrisse Cullors, now has a multi-year deal with Warner Brothers Television. See, even Marxists like capitalism when they get paid. Join me in cutting the fog of politics in the Liberty Lighthouse Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Mojo 50 Radio.
Check it out, the Seraphine. That's so appreciative of Peter Seraphine. I'm not the only host on Mojo 50 Radio. There's a whole lineup that you're missing if you do not go to mojo50.com/schedule and listen to a lot of the great content that we have on this network. Please do me a favor, go to mojo50.com, mojo50.com, and listen to the different programs available to you out there. I'm glad to share the Seraphine Minute. I don't get a chance to do it all the time, but you know what? I felt myself getting worked up here as we sit here talking about this. And so I look at this, and this isn't just the only time of misinformation. This isn't the only time of misinformation. I found this thing on the BBC, and this was I want you to pay attention to, because again, the BBC is one of the big ones that are out there, right? And they'll tell you a lot of these things that you have to be worried about and you have to be concerned about as you go about your daily life. But here was there was an article, and just on the picture alone, as you look and you see on this picture, what do you see? You see Biden and you see Harris, and not Biden and Harris. You see Biden and Trump, but on the screen is all you see is QAnon, woke, Q. And it's really interesting because of the fact that what you're seeing here is, I don't know why, but the BBC has a major desire to take down Q information, whatever you want. And you know what? You're right, Belinda. BBC is the mainstream media. And as I watch this, and again, this is really powerful as you look at how, if you go to the BBC right now, you will see more than one article out there talking about disinformation and them labeling the QAnon as one of this. But check out this woman's dialogue as she's trying to sound educated on this.
The US presidential election is fast approaching. The candidates are talking about the Supreme Court, police reform, and other big issues. There's also attention on the pandemic and Donald Trump's hospitalization after testing positive for COVID-19. But there's a parallel conversation happening, filled with conspiracies and rumours. Here's how you can spot false claims, influence campaigns, and hoaxes on your social media feed. Tip 1. If it triggers strong emotions, think before you share. Ever heard of QAnon? It's a false conspiracy theory that claims President Trump is fighting a secret war against elite, Satan-worshipping paedophiles. We can all agree that child abuse and human trafficking are upsetting, terrible crimes. But many people don't realise what's really behind seemingly virtuous hashtags, ones such as Save Our Children. They have become part of a bigger, politically motivated disinformation campaign.
So I need to stop this for a second here. So you understand that in the disinformation and everything she's talking about so far, all images point to Q, Anon, and all information points to Donald Trump. Zero information regarding the Biden campaign. The whole idea of basically even saying that Satan worshiping pedophiles. We have data from this. We have Epstein Island. We actually have children who are being rescued. 39 in Ohio, 25 in Georgia, 40 here. You're getting large numbers of children being rescued from human sex trafficking. But this is a conspiracy. And just because of the fact that the BBC and most of these other different, mainstream media outlets are shutting down the information doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. But this idea, now mind you, this is how you program a whole population, a world global population, into basically walking into a furnace, walking into a boxcar, walking into their own self-annihilation by just being constantly programmed with disinformation. I mean, the idea of this video is talking about disinformation, and when you look and see exactly what they're doing, it's disinformation. You're basically slanting the data that you're presenting so that you can present some level of quote unquote intelligence to highlight your importance or your significance, yet at the same time I feel like I'm doing exactly what Joe Biden, and I feel like I'm doing exactly what Dick Durbin were doing, saying a whole lot of nonsense and making absolutely no kind of sense whatsoever because it sounds good because I just keep talking. And that's exactly what these monsters are doing, sitting here completely being silent to this. And you have to understand that there's this disease, this disinformation, it produces some very lazy and automaton people that could be, or drones that could be easily manipulated. Let's go back to this nonsense.
If you see a claim made on social media about the election that makes you feel really emotional, pause for a second. Get to the bottom of where it came from.
Now, before we get into number 2, she's talking about hashtags, right? Well, hashtag Black Lives Matter. Hashtag, how many different hashtags we have out there where it's getting rid of, kick him out. Hashtag my body, my choice. Those things inspire emotion. Those things basically get you triggered. So if it applies for this thing here, that if hashtags get you triggered, then that means that no hashtag out there should be accepted, right? But if you sit and you watch this thing, if you watch this video, it never goes down that route. Because disinformation is basically providing and pre-programming you to have a certain response without giving you all the information or even giving you the ability to think out exactly what data has been given to you. There's no time for discernment. There's only time for instruction. Do what I tell you to do, not as I do. Do as I say, not as I do. That has been the narrative from the progressivism for so long, and countless individuals have been pre-programmed and they can't understand it. If you get a chance, go to Battle4Freedom.com, my website, and look for, I was talking about the Stockholm Syndrome. As I sit here talking about the Stockholm Syndrome and how people can be programmed and forced into fear to accept the lies and the manipulation that's been pushed down to them. Let's get into point 2. This is really sad and disgusting.
Tip 2. Question divisive content. US intelligence concluded that Russia used social media to try to influence the last presidential election back in 2016. So how can you spot influence operations on your social media feeds?
Foreign interference campaigns often try to exploit local divisions and pit people against each other. That's exactly what Russian trolls did in 2016 with divisive memes about race and social issues. So beware of posts that promote extreme points of view and always interrogate the sources that share them.
Wait, hold on a second here. Before we pit people against each other, extreme points of view, what do you think Black Lives Matter is? What do you think the idea of Antifa is? That's extremism. But you're not talking about this stuff. You're sitting here and you are talking about, you're just only focusing on, you never put Antifa up there. You never put critical race theory up there. You never put these things out here. And now mind you too, you notice how they only showed the Black Panthers, but they didn't want to show the NCFs or the NFCs or whatever they're called. They're not fooling around here anymore, people. They don't show you the Black Lives Matter organization. They don't even show to you even Planned Parenthood, because if you don't believe Planned Parenthood is extreme, I've got a bridge to Mars I'll sell you. But I love this disinformation because you look at the topics, look at the things that are being focused on with this person who's raping journalistic integrity. And this is very sad.
Also, be extra cautious with little-known news websites that promote political content.
Oh, now this is the one I have to hit on here. Be cautious of little-known websites. You want to know why? It's because their readership is down. No one wants to go there anymore. The mainstream media has been completely political, has been completely biased, has completely been tainted in their ability to give you content, to give you information, and it's very sad, it's very pathetic as you watch and you as you listen to this. And I have to laugh because of the fact that you sit here and you think you don't want other people looking to other websites like Battle4Freedom or Mojo50 Radio because of the fact that you'll know that people are no longer interested in what you have to say because your information is tainted and is completely lopsided, and we want a fresh perspective. So don't listen to and look at this in this nice accent as Lep has basically said, and he loves her accent, and she beautifully tells you, and this is, and look at the disinformation. Look at how she is programming censorship in the most polite and professional way. Oh, you gotta love these people. They're rich.
Influence campaigns often rely on these. Facebook recently shut down one such effort linked to Russia. It's centered around a left-leaning news website that even hired real US-based journalists to write for
whatever. BBC is
Tip 3.
left-leaning.
Consider the motives behind a post. Beware dirty tricks. False claims about voter fraud began circulating online in the summer, often plugged by President Trump himself.
Oh, do you get that? False information, voter fraud, plugged by President Trump, basically trying to make it seem like Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are innocent victims of this misinformation attack that's out there. This is disinformation. This is disinformation where they're basically knocking down the verified data. And even now, you come out with this beautiful video and we have all this information, even though I told you already, MSNBC, or as Donald Trump calls them, MSDNC, and also CNN have 0 articles about the laptop from Hunter Biden. So you have to follow the other websites that are going to sit here talking about this information, and she's telling you, ignore them. Makes me think that this woman could possibly be
On Twitter,
part
he's
of
criticised plans to expand postal voting, claiming there's tremendous fraud involved. That's not backed up by the evidence.
That BBC might
And
be
as
part
polling
of
day
the
approaches, expect to see false claims about where, when, and how to vote. Check details about voting with your local election authority. And as always, stop and think.
It says reality check. There's no such thing as a reality check like this when you're handing out this information and you're keeping people in disarray from the information. It's just insane. Renee Marie, subliminal messages to steer you in the direction they want you to go in. Bingo. At any time, Peter. Subliminal messages that'll get you to go in the direction that they want you to go. Disinformation. The irony of it. The irony of creating a video on the BBC to combat disinformation while providing disinformation. If that is not the trick of hell of what you get from the progressive movement, I don't know what other kind of information you need. Let's do this. Let's go to a break. I'm your host, Watson Prunier from Battle4Freedom with a really cool hat. Oh, check me out. Talk to you on the flip side. This election will be vital to the health and sustainability of our country. Our role from this day on could steer the election in either direction. Why? The way we treat one another. In John 13:35, Jesus says, "By this all people will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another." We know that every election cycle brings out the worst in us. If there was ever a point for honesty, it is in how we act during election season. As much as we would want our candidate to win, attacking a person with contrary opinions only makes them determined to reject our point of view all the more. It may come off as ignorant from them, but we cannot claim innocence if we allow arrogance and disrespect to be the means in which we communicate with those who support the other party or other candidates. Our goal was and will never be to convert voters. Our role is to give them the information needed prior to them casting their vote. It is their choice and right of what they do with that information. Understand, more people are aware of the political corruption and hypocrisy than they wish or want to admit. So there's nothing for us to prove. Choose to be people who invoke change rather than people who irritate and strain. Dale Carnegie once wrote, "A man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still." In other words, give people the room to make their own mistakes. Without seeing that they were wrong, they would be blind to see what is right. Remember, every soldier present and gone have fought for the right of every American citizen to vote their own conscience. To insult and ridicule people for exercising their liberty to vote for their candidate is to also desecrate the efforts, memories, and sacrifices made by our heroes for said liberty. Please, show respect. Our nation depends on it. Welcome back, everyone. This is Watson Prunier from Battle for Freedom on Mojo 50 Radio with my really cool hat. Yes, my wife is like losing her mind because I'm taking like every like Marvel man pose that you can imagine, and I'm having fun with this hat. I feel like a new man. Folks, listen, I'm one of the hosts on Mojo 50 Radio, and I have the great opportunity to just not just Mojo 50 Radio, but Battle for Freedom, and I love sharing. I love talking with you guys. I even got a nice shirt to go with it, because now I need to go get me a horse, and I'll ride into work today if I can do it that way. But no, folks, this is really cool as we sit here talking about disinformation. And one of the things I don't want to mislead you on is when it comes to information, how you provide for yourself in the midst of the instabilities of going on today with the constant brownouts, blackouts you have on the East Coast. I mean, on the West Coast, you have these monsters who are burning and tearing down our cities. And sometimes you need to know or have some safety and security in having a better understanding of powering your house and not worrying about what the insane wackadoodles will do. So let's get into some, Patriot Energy and go from there. Are your energy bills getting out of hand and you want more control of your expenses? Consider Patriot Energy, a local veteran-owned solar company. You need honesty, integrity, and clarity. These markers are essential in the ever-growing solar industry. Call 602-721-6717 for a free quote. Tell them that Watson from Battle for Freedom sent you, and he's from Mojo 50 Radio. And that number again, 602-721-6717. Call Patriot Energy today. Call Patriot Energy today. And not only that, maybe a lot of the stuff that I'm sharing with you, you don't know how to process it. You know what? Every last one of us has a different walk in life. There's different battles we face and we go against. And I want you to consider, one of the ones I share a lot is usually in the first segment of the show. And that's sorry, my brain is completely fried on this. New Life Holistic. Take a listen here and go from there. Does your mind seem like it often shuts down before it even starts? Sounds like you need to detox to improve your health in body, mind, and spirit. I'd like to tell you about New Life Holistic. It is an amazing therapy process that uses neurofeedback and biofeedback for many issues that ails everyone. New Life's method and approach to health, balance, energy, and vitality is what sets it apart from anything you have experienced ever before. Call 1-833-4-BIO-LIFE and tell them Watson from Battle4Freedom had sent you. One more thing. Give them the code MOJO50 and save $50 off of your first session. The consult is free. New Life Holistic. New Life Holistic. Just get to them, folks, and get your mind tuned in correctly, because of the fact that what I share with you, sometimes you just need your mind cleared from a lot of the lies and misconceptions or deceptions that have been placed on you. And I got to really try and fight the urge to alliterate as I'm bringing up these terms. So the next thing I found that was really interesting is, I don't know how many of you heard about, so many women were marching to D.C. and different cities around the country because they wanted to protest the idea of Honorable Judge Amy Coney Barrett becoming the next to fill the empty position in the Supreme Court. Not Ruth Bader Ginsburg's seat, the empty position. If you want to talk about disinformation, that's probably one of the biggest ones of saying this is Ruth Bader Ginsburg's seat. No, it is the people's seat, not Ruth Bader Ginsburg's. So cut the nonsense and end the foolishness and wake up. But I want to look at a couple of the different things that are on here. Just some images I picked up from on there. One of them, here's this image of a woman that says, women belong in all places where decisions are being made. Okay. So then why are you protesting a woman being in a position to where a decision's being made? You see how disinformation can be so bad that you can carry on with your banner and your banter and not realize you're actually contradicting the very thing that you're arguing. You're contradicting yourself. And it's sad. It's heartbreaking. Not only that, here was another one I saw. This is the one that really gets crazy because of the fact they says that the future is female. Now this is where it gets very scary, because of the fact that in the event for trying to fight for liberties and freedoms and equality for women, you're basically destroying, because you'll see signs that says destroy the patriarchy. Well, how can you celebrate the existence of women and then turn around and to destroy? Because if the only way you can succeed is by destroying something else and removing the balance, and again, here it is, we have the symbol for a woman with a fist inside. That communistic fist, that resist fist that's there. And people don't seem to realize and understand. That's the same fist. Understand this. Understand this clearly. That's the same fist that beats the nonsense out of women in domestic violence. That's the same fist that beats children. That's the same fist that keeps people in subjugation. But you've been so disinformed and misinformed that you don't even realize that you're promoting the symbols of hatred, divisiveness, and tyranny. Socialism is tyranny. But for some strange reason, you have been misinformed and disinformed to believe that you can come up and the United States and the Progressive Party can come and the Democrat Party can come up with a better execution and implementation of socialism. I'm sitting here thinking like it's a lie. And many of you have even adopted the lie and the horrible, hellish doctrine that socialism is even found in the Bible. No. You need to read the Bible again. And you may actually need to sit down, pray, and make sure that you know who Jesus Christ is. Because socialism is definitely not in the Bible. What a lot of people keep thinking, I'm just going to go with my highfalutin, rootin' tootin' education, and I'm going to give you a piece of my mind. Not even thinking. Not even asking the right questions. That fist, I hate seeing that fist. Here's another one. Make America think again. Now, this is gold, Jerry. This this is gold, Jerry, as we sit here and we look at, because you got the Black Lives Matter sign to the left and so much more that's just in here. And I'm sitting here thinking, and America's thinking, you're not. Because if you want to really think, if you really, riddle me this, Mr. Not even, I wouldn't even say beta male. I'm probably going to go down to maybe delta or even gamma, but definitely not an alpha. And beta is too kind of a term. As you sit here and you watch this misinformation that's being held here, riddle me this. Why is it that the Black Lives Matter people removed the language from their website that basically said that they wanted to destroy the nuclear family? Why did they remove the language from their website? Or I don't know if it's still there or not, about talking about them being a Marxist-driven organization. Why is it now when you Google to find out who Act Blue is, you have the first 3 or 4 pages that try and tell you about how good Act Blue is, but doesn't want to give you the information from those no-name websites about how Act Blue, the donators or the people who manage the money from Black Lives Matter, is funneling the money into the DNC party and other political organizations and has nothing to do with helping the black community. We don't want to talk about that. Because with the billions and billions of dollars that end up into Black Lives Matter movement, you still have black communities suffering. You still have black communities hurt and not moved on. Black Lives Matter started during Barack Obama's administration. And if that's the case, we should have seen black communities doing a whole lot better long before now, as long as Black Lives Matter has been in existence. But it hasn't. It hasn't changed. And they're still poor. And they're still killing each other. Chicago has now their deadliest year as they surpass 600. Indianapolis has its deadliest year as they have passed 186, 109, near 190 shootings and killings with Democrat leadership. They were talking about this because there was a transgender woman, I believe it was a transgender. I don't know if it was a transgender woman or it was an advocate. It was a person who was an advocate for transgenders. Was shot and killed this past weekend in Indianapolis. So this man, I believe it was a man who identifies as a woman, who was shot and killed, and they're saying that he was killed because of the fact that he was transgender and was an advocate for it. We don't have the information for it. People just making an assumption. Let's get everybody riled up. Let's just automatically go to this being a hate crime. No data to support the information, but we're just going to go there. And I said, this is what you get from Democrat leadership that constantly has a lax approach to the criminal element. When you continue to let these people out of jail and you continue to allow them to ruin the lives of countless individuals and it has no responsibility, there's no accountability to what they do, you continue to blame the Democrat Party. People keep arguing about, the economy is horrible and it is not working. And I'm sitting here thinking, and where is it not working? Where are the people losing most of their jobs? In the Democrat cities, in the Democrat states. The states controlled by Democrats, the states controlled by these monsters who want to keep businesses closed. You can go riot, but you can't go worship. You can go protest, but you can't go to work. You can't peacefully assemble if you're not arguing and defending the atrocity of what happened to George Floyd. The hypocrisy, the disinformation that's happening right there. And every time we try and talk to you and expose you to what's going on, those people, right wings, conspiracy nuts, don't pay attention to them. Really? Well, we got these marches. We got these people thinking that they're doing something. Here's another one. Because I love these signs. As you sit there looking at some of these signs here, it says, honor her wish. That's one of the ones that I have to laugh at because of the fact that I'm saying, you know what, you tell me where in the Constitution of the United States of America that it says that a seat belongs or a wish supersedes the Constitution? Where? Because at this point, Abraham Lincoln had a wish to be alive. Can we make that happen? How many other different wishes do we have to go through? You see how illogical? Let's go back to the BBC thing. Don't get triggered. Oh, honor her wish, honor her wish. There's nothing in the Constitution. Remember that rule of law that we try to abide by that respects the rights of individuals? Rights of individuals, not wishes of individuals. And also remember this: the pursuit of life, the life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are not guaranteed. They're just provided as an opportunity and an avenue for where you to go. But most people who want to be triggered, most people who want to be manipulated, most people who want to operate in misinformation and disinformation, they're too angry to actually focus and stay on course about what they want to pursue and what they want to achieve in their lives. I'll make it way too easy. Here's one that, this is one that you want to talk about getting riled. So I don't know if any of you have seen the interview with Jake Tapper and Laura Trump. This is, you want to talk about, I've lost all respect for Jake Tapper, because now he has made, you know what? He's made the Inquirer more reliable, more trustworthy than anything else. Jake Tapper is a ghoul. Jake Tapper, he has lost all conscience. Jake Tapper has lost any credibility ever again. You want to talk about sinking low. You want to talk about triggering people. Check this out.
I want to ask you a couple things about things that you've done on the campaign trail. Joe Biden, as we all know, has worked to overcome a stutter. And one of the speakers at the Democratic convention was a young boy who the vice president inspired, named Braden Harrington. Take a listen.
It was really amazing to hear that someone like me became vice president.
Braden Harrington, a very brave young boy. You made this comment earlier in the campaign about Joe Biden. Let's take a listen to that.
Every time he comes on stage or they turn to him, I'm like, Joe, can you get it out? Let's get the words out, Joe. You kind of feel bad for him.
How do you think it makes little kids with stutters feel when they see you make a comment like that?
First and foremost, I had no idea that Joe Biden ever suffered from a stutter. I think what we see on stage with Joe Biden, Jake, is very clearly a cognitive decline. Okay. That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable.
You are It's so amazing. It's so amazing to me
and try and figure out an answer.
A cognitive decline.
Well, when you're trying to tell me that what I was suggesting was
I think that you were mocking his stutter. Yeah, I think you were mocking his stutter, and I think you have absolutely no standing to diagnose somebody's cognitive decline. I would think.
I'm not going to lie to you. I'm really bothered by this right now because of the fact that what Jake Tapper has done there is below the belt. It's not even smut nonsense of what he has done there. What Jake Tapper has endeavored to do is to incite so many Americans right now against the Trump family. And you know what? You can disagree with the Trump family, but to put out malevolent content like this and think that there won't be any consequences for your actions on this, you know, even though I know I may say a lot of things that offend a lot of people as I try and get you to think, but to make a baseless accusation like that, trust me, if I'm making an accusation on something, I have information to back it up. When I talk about racist people in my life, I have information to back it up. When I talk about people who are manipulative, I have information to back it up. But what Jake Tapper has done here, it is a disgusting situation. Sorry. Oh my goodness. I'm not lying to you. I'm angry. I'm angry that we're watching this thing here. What Jake Tapper just did there, yeah, you didn't need to hear what I had to say. I'll clean it up on the audio later, but you don't need to hear what I had to say there because of the fact that Jake Tapper, he's pond scum. He's pond scum. Jake Tapper has proven himself not to be trustworthy. There's no journalistic integrity in that time frame where there's no audio. I will basically have for you probably just a whole bunch of beeps and bleeps and things like that, because the fact that this is disgusting. This is disgusting. Jake Tapper, shame on you for what you did here, and we know exactly what he's doing. He has chosen to basically allow people to feel that the Trumps will do everything that they can to attack people with disabilities. He has to manufacture something. He has to create something here. Oh my goodness. This is sad. Oh my goodness. It's heartbreaking to see what Jake Tapper did there. Let's move on. Because of the fact that misinformation is what people need to do. See, and this is what you do. Now prepare for this image that I'm going to show you here, because of the fact that this week, when you had people who were trying to protest the idea of the CNN censorship, not just CNN censorship, but the Twitter and Facebook censorship, here is a black man who was at a rally trying to protest what Twitter and Facebook were doing, and he gets attacked by Antifa. You remember the idea that Joe Biden talked about? This is the violence. You see, here's the funny thing about it. Is CNN, even Tapper, and Lemon and Cuomo have sat there and celebrated what these monsters are doing. They've celebrated what these monsters are doing, terrorizing people, attacking individuals, burning cities, looting, and everything like that. Zero character, zero integrity. If anything, I'm not lying to you folks. This is disgusting. They're attacking, and this is all I have to say is that if you're going to go to a rally, you better start protecting yourself, and you better start addressing this nonsense and put an end. Stop being victims. It's time to respond. It is time to respond, not react. And it's time to be proactive to make certain that you will no longer be a victim. You know what? It's really disgusting to see how this continues to happen, and nobody wants to be prepared for the war and the battle that's on our way here, because y'all keep thinking the disinformation telling you that there's no civil war to be worried about. Oh yeah, it's here, baby. It is here. Let's move on to some more disinformation here. So now Ilhan Omar is basically saying that Trump rhetoric is making her a victim of violence, and people are targeting her for hatefulness. Oh, it's time to play the victim card. It's time to play the victim card, the victim card, the victim card. And not only her, she's not the only one who's doing this. Because even Gretchen Whitmer is basically saying that that the people who wanted to go after her is because of Trump inciting people to do this. You know, it's so, wait, let's go back to the BBC article. Where's your facts? Where's your information? Oh, because it's on the Meet the Press, we have to believe that. Oh, because of the fact that it's on the socially acceptable networks, we basically have to believe it. Well, here's the disinformation, and I'm not going to lie to you folks. I am disgusted beyond belief when I look at the level of misinformation and disinformation that's being handed out, and many of you don't want to listen. There was a thing I saw this morning on local news here where they basically pushed out, they said that there's a panel that's basically for the United Way. And you know how the United Way is about blessing people, but also they have their other issues that they have to work with. Well, the United Way is another group, another organization that's adopting the lies and heresies of critical race theory. You can always go back to go to battle4freedom.com and look up CRT. Just search, use a search engine on the website and look up CRT and basically listen to my broadcast that breaks down the heresy called critical race theory. And this has been adopted into many businesses and led people into believing that they are informed. Rather, they're misinformed and disinformed, and they're carrying on this lie and this deception. Churches are falling apart because of the fact that preachers are walking away from preaching the word of God, teaching the word of God, teaching the gospel message to lean on to the social gospel message. And critical race theory is nothing but a lie from the pit of hell. Well, now you have the United Way is going there because of the fact that they have this thing called responding to the roots of racism. Oh, my goodness. This is disgusting because of the fact that here was my response on it, because I'm not going to be quiet about this. Critical race theory is a doctrine of Satan. Stop with this nonsense. It is raising up weak-minded people who use the crutches of the victimhood mentality to hobble their way through life without realizing that it's the liberation theology / racism narrative that's causing their own self-impairment. Wake up and ignore this lie. Be free. Fly like a peacock. Sorry, you'll have to watch the other guys to make sense of that phrase. Fly like a peacock. Oh my goodness, because of the fact that that's actually more logical than half the nonsense that's coming out of the mainstream media that's based on lies, misinformation, and disinformation. Hey, let's actually go to another one that's a lie based on misinformation. I'm going to let this thing cover the whole screen because, just going to cover me on this. My attitude of gratitude is actually when the good information comes out there to help people process data the correct way. Attitude of gratitude is the idea of ending the program off on the right way, on the right note to help you, inspire you. In light of all the craziness that happens over the weekends, send a message to me at b4faog@gmail.com, and I'll do my best to try and share your story, okay? If it's long, if the story's long, I just don't have time unless I start it like 10 minutes before the show's over. So if you can give me a brief synopsis of it, it works, and I'll be happy to share what you have here. But sometimes it's just those posts that you find and has so much great information. This is not misinformation. This is reality, and we're going to work our way through this in the last few minutes that we have of this program. Covering me in my beautiful hat. Why the richer are getting richer. Get richer. It shows on the left-hand side of, if those of you who are listening in iHeartRadio, I'm sorry, but I have a graphic. If you go to facebook.com/Mojo50Radio, you can watch the replay. You can actually even watch this on YouTube to make certain. And I will clean up, and there'll be a replay you can watch, which will clean up the area that there was no sound. Come back at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, same spot, same bat channel. But it shows the whole idea that both the poor earns a certain living and spends everything that they have. They spend everything that they have from their checks, and they wonder why they're never making a headway in their lives. They're never getting richer, but they're only getting poorer because they have a poor mentality in how they handle the resources that have been given to them. Whereas you look at the rich, and the rich earns the same amount of money, right? And they save a certain amount of their money, and then they invest a certain amount of their money, and then they also spend a certain amount of their money. But what they spend doesn't exceed what they earn, what they save, and what they invest. That's how you get rich. You see this? What they earn is not burdened or even wiped away, because if you spend what you earn, you have nothing to put into savings, you have nothing to put into investing. That's how the rich, well, I need those rims. I need this $5,000 rim. I need those Air Jordans, those $200 shoes. Huh? I need to have the $200, $300, $400, $500 sneakers. I need to have that Xbox. I need to have all these different things. Listen, the truth of basically getting debt free is out there. It's been there for, yes, of course, I'm going to go there. Dave Ramsey, Total Money Makeover, Financial Peace University. See, the rules of success, the rules of becoming rich, the rules are so easy to follow and apply in your life if you're willing to go down that route. So for now, we're about to sign off in about 30 seconds here. And just thanking all of you for your kind comments about my hat. Thank you for your patience when I went silent. I'm closing out this. Rondolph the Gray is going to be joining Brad Staggs of the Daily Mojo in a few seconds here. And I'm going to be signing off. Appreciate all you beautiful people. Y'all come back now, yeah?